In this masterpiece in taste episode, I'll be showing you how to create this gorgeous Gaia Genoise with macerated apricots, espresso caramel, and the sponge is infused with a fruity flavor that balances out with the caramelly notes of the L'OR Espresso Organic coffee capsule. And so the first thing we're going to start with is dried apricots with a bit of sugar and a shot of the L'OR Espresso Organic. So we've got a shot of coffee here. And all we're going to do is just add it to our dried apricots and a bit of sugar and let that macerate for a good 30 to 40 minutes. Just going to give these a good stir. And these dried apricots are going to soak up that delicious coffee. These are going to go inside the Genoise cake. Now on to making the Genoise cake, which is going to be flavored with pistachio. And this here is trimoline, which is inverted sugar. And you can use glucose syrup or honey instead. Some flour, pistachio paste, white chocolate, and unsalted butter. Now it's really, really important that you don't skimp on these ingredients, especially the chocolate, and most importantly, the pistachio paste. So we're gonna add a lot of air into the egg yolks. We're gonna whisk them up with the trimoline. So while this is gonna be whisking away, all these fats here, we're gonna incorporate that into the egg yolks when they're melted. So into the microwave this goes. Now after a few minutes, you can see how lush, also how fluffy the egg yolks have become. And at this point, you want to slowly whisk in the fats, which is the chocolate, butter, and pistachio paste. So we're just going to trickle this in. So now that we've got our pistachio, chocolate, and butter into our egg yolks with our inverted sugar, here I've got the meringue, which is the egg whites with the sugar. And that's been whipped up to a stiff peak. So what we're going to do is add this in thirds and then slowly mix it in. You can see how fluffy it's getting as you incorporate so much air into this. You don't want to overwork the mixture because it may collapse and knock out the air. So at this point, we're going to start working with our spatula. Scrape the sides, making sure you get everything in the middle as well. Now we're going to add in our flour, little by little. You're gonna work gently because it's very soft and quite fluffy. You wanna keep as much of the air in as possible. And now we're gonna strain out our macerated apricots. You can see it's kind of soaked up all that espresso. What I love about this, the apricots bring this fruity flavor. Quite acidic and bright, but also it has that organic L'OR espresso kind of goes through it. It's not too strong, it's also not too sweet. Now at this point, I've got some slivered pistachios. And again, make sure you get really good pistachios. So we'll just scoop in our luscious, light and fluffy cake batter. And now to add in our macerated apricots. Just use the spoon to work it around, letting it slowly sink in. Now lastly, before this goes into the oven, we're gonna add in our slivered pistachios. Now this is going to go to the oven at 165 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. While our Genoise sponge is in the oven, we're going to create our espresso caramel with the L'OR Espresso Organic. We're going to use 2 shots. The first shot is going to go in with this mixture, which is glucose, a bit of salt, cream, and milk. And the second shot, we'll add it at the end. Bring it up to a simmer. Off the heat it goes. And onto the side, we've got some glucose and sugar, and we're going to create a dry caramel out of this. Now you want the sugars to be smoking but not burnt. So now you can start to see the caramel is picking up its color. And here I've got some unsalted butter. At the right color, we're going to add this in. So now you can see our caramel is smoking but not burnt. Now we're going to add in our butter. Now once our butter is all melted in, we're going to put this back onto the heat and then add in our liquid. Add it incrementally and watch out, it's hot. So you can look at that caramel color, it is stunning. It's nice and dark and it has a subtle hints of the espresso itself. Keep cooking and reduce the caramel just before it starts to split because we're trying to remove as much moisture as we can, and we're going to add one more shot of our espresso. Now that we've got the last shot of the espresso in, it's intensified that flavor and this amazing aroma and golden caramel. Time to plate up. Pop that onto the plate. Now I've got some extra macerated apricots. I'm gonna put a few just on top. And now for the final touch. The rich espresso caramel that I'm just gonna drizzle on top. You've got a whole pot full of caramel, so you can just drizzle as much as you want. And there you go, that is my Gaia Genoise, which is a pistachio gemma sponge with a macerated apricot and espresso caramel on top to go with a L'OR Espresso Organic.